Your personal credit score is a part of the calculation for your SBSS business credit score. There's no way around it. If anybody tells you otherwise, they either don't know or they're lying to you. Guys, today I want to talk about something incredibly important. I gave you a little bit of hints when I did my NAV review. I want to talk about the SBSS score and why nobody talks about it. Everybody talks about FICO Vantage. We hear that every single day on YouTube. Why is nobody talking about SBSS? And also I want to talk about how to improve it to make sure that once we go to these banks, we know exactly how to position ourselves. So let's jump right in. So what would you do in this situation? So let's say you're a great chef. You've been cooking up in your kitchen for 20 years. You're prepared to now open up your business, open up your restaurant, open up your cafe, whatever it is you're trying to do. You go to the bank and you always hear people talk about SBA loans, right? Specifically the SBA 7A loan. This is a common loan that banks give for entrepreneurs to open up their businesses. So if you go to the bank and you walk in with a great product, your personal credit score is fantastic. It's 787. You go to the bank and the banker specifically tells you, hey, unfortunately, I got a call back from the underwriter. The underwriter says they're not going to be able to give you this loan. Sorry, you were denied. Specifically, your SBSS score or your small business score, it was too low. We can't approve you. What's your next move at that point, right? Do you ask him more questions? Do you go on Credit Karma? What do you do to figure out, okay, they're looking at a score. How do I even know what this score is? Where do I check this score? How do we move from that scenario? The SBSS is a little bit different, but all of these scores are basically the bank trying to use these algorithms and use these scores to basically assess, hey, this person is coming to me with their business entity and they're trying to get business funding. I need an algorithm. I need a system to be able to tell me almost immediately, is this person high risk? If I give this person $50,000, $100,000 for their business, do they even have the capability and the capacity to pay me my money back? This is what the bank is thinking. On this little graphic here, I have it from QuickBooks, Intuit's website. It says good score 140 and above is considered good. That's not quite accurate. If you go to the SBA score, and specifically the SBA 7A loan, they say they don't want to see anything under 160. And then on top of that, there are a lot of banks who, again, use SBA loans. There are a lot of banks that won't even look at you seriously if you don't have a score that's 180 or above, right? So you can kind of see there's even a discrepancy when you go to Intuit QuickBooks. When you go to this website, people are giving you different numbers. Like, why aren't people actually giving you guys the real deal, right? So what are the factors that make up your SBSS scores, right? We realize the banks use it. Number one, I made sure to put this number one. Your personal credit score, specifically your profile, is what's going to be making up. Remember, 0 to 350 is what your SBSS score goes up to. And we want to be 180 and above. So if your personal credit is not where it needs to be, you can kiss any sort of legitimate way of trying to get business funding goodbye, because there's no way around it. I understand that people online tell you, oh, you don't need personal credit. I can get you these cards. And most of the time it's just like Divvy, Capital on Tap, a lot of these fintech type of cards, which they're not bad. There's a place for that, but that's a little bit misleading. Most of the time when people think, okay, I need business funding or I need 6 figures in funding, they're not thinking of Divvy. They're thinking, okay, I need a BLOC. I need an unsecured credit card where I can possibly take funds off for products for my location or inventory or whatever I need to make sure that my business actually succeeds. That's what people are thinking about. You cannot get legitimate business funding if your personal credit score, specifically your personal credit profile, is not up to par. There's a whole bunch of different content on this channel that goes into it in more depth, but that's number one. Your personal credit score is a part of the calculation for your SBSS business credit score. There's no way around it. If anybody tells you otherwise, they either don't know or they're lying to you. All right, number 2, business history. Time in business and your payment history. So this is common sense. If you go to the bank, they want to know, okay, did you just open your business last week? Or do you have history? Is there something that you can show that shows me you paid this loan on time, you've opened this account, you've been paying on time for years? Can you show me that? So let's say your personal credit profile is a little bit shaky, your scores are like low 6s, and you're still trying to figure your way out, but you know, in the next year or two, I really want to get business funding because there's things I want to do. I have dreams of opening up my business. Open up your business entity, create a business account. There are a couple that you can go ahead and open up, and they're not going to have fees or minimum balance requirements. Open that up because that's going to start the clock. So by the time you actually get your personal credit profile where it needs to be, you have a business entity, an LLC or a C Corp, S Corp, whatever, that has been opened, that has a business bank account attached to it with funds coming in and out. That's going to help you. That's going to help your SBSS score, right? Next, financials. There's really no way around this. They want to see, is there money even coming in and out of these accounts? So we already talked about Divvy, Capital on Tap. I talked about last week NAV and their product. They're not really checking your credit score. That's not going to be an issue. What they're actually going to look for is, show me that business bank account, and we need to see money coming in and out. If you're saying that you're an entrepreneur and you're saying that you need X amount in funding, you got to be able to show us through that bank account to take care of your expenses as well as what you're trying to borrow from us, right? The days of trying to finesse the bank is going to get harder and harder, y'all, especially now with these fintech companies coming out. Industry risk, right? Finance lending industry, that's a no-go, right? If you guys remember, I did a video on Navy Federal and their business account. And I did it as a case study, but I went and tried to open it up under my previous credit repair company. That was a no-go. The moment they associated my account with credit repair, they shut that application down quick. If you're in the finance industry, or if you're lending, or if you're in a credit repair, that's going to be way harder. Some of you guys know that if you're trying to open up merchant accounts, they're going to ask you the same thing. Okay, what are you going to be using this merchant account for? Oh, finance and lending and credit repair? No. Or they'll give it to you, but they're going to give you higher rates. You have to pay more. You may have to pay down considerably more in a down payment. It gets a little bit tricky, right? THC, CBD, right? Marijuana, that's going to be difficult to get funding. That's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible to get funding for those industries. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult, right? So now that we know some of the components that what creates this SBSS business score, what can we do to improve it? So we got to monitor it. And I mean both on your personal and now your business credit profile. You have 2 profiles you got to pay attention to. Now, on this channel, I've told you guys a whole bunch of different ways, annualcreditreport.com. People use Credit Karma. People use Smart Credit. There's a whole bunch of different ways to figure out what's on your personal. I think if you're super duper serious, MyFICO, there's nothing really better. You want to understand what's on it. Most people have something on their personal credit profile that's inaccurate. And that thing right there that you're not even aware of could be weighing you down and giving you a denial, and you don't even know why. So you got to make sure your personal credit profile, go to MyFICO or whatever you're using, and then go to NAV. I did a complete deep dive video on NAV, what they're offering. I like NAV because not only can you monitor what your scores are, including your SBSS score, they actually have 2 business products that when you sign up, they're going to report to the business credit bureaus every single month, and that's going to give you 2 trade lines to increase your credit score, right? So myfico.com and NAV. You want to make sure that you're in the loop. You got to manage your utilization. And I put hint, not all credit products report to the bureaus, right? Not all credit cards report utilization to the credit bureaus. I'll leave it there. I'll do a separate video on that if need be, but that's just a hint. There are ways where you can ethically hide that utilization when it's time to get funding. Go down in the comments, let me know if you want me to do a deep dive video on that. I can do that. So if your credit profile is thin, what do I tell you guys to do on your personal side? Navy Federal Pledge Loan, get secured cards, right? End Reward, Discover It, Self, right? These are things that you can use to sign up for that's going to report every single month. And then over time, with time, payment history, age, you're going to see your scores go up. The same thing is very similar with your business credit profile. This is why people tell you, go to Uline, go to Granger, go to Crown Office Supplies. These are places that you have to spend money to buy whatever random items. They report to the business credit bureaus. And then over time, they continue to report. And then over time, your business credit scores slowly, they start to get stronger. They slowly start to get higher. This is why I say NAV, and you're going to keep seeing me push them super hard. Because again, not only are they going to show you your business credit report scores, they want to give you 2 primary trade lines that you can add to your business credit profile. There's no way around it. You got to pay to play in this game. Double check your industry. So what do I mean by this? Most people, when you guys try to sign up for your LLC, your S Corp, whatever it is that you're trying to build, a lot of us, we're not always super paying attention to how we're registering our business entities. Sometimes we're just so excited to be like, all right, I got an LLC, I'm a business owner. We're just kind of putting random stuff in the registration process. So I want to make sure that you guys go back, double check your NAICS code, right? So for example, for me, I'm not actively doing credit repair like I once was, right? So I got to make sure that the entities that I was using previously, if they're still associating my business entity with credit repair, I've got to change that. I got to make sure that I update that, because if the lender looks at that and says, oh, credit repair, the likelihood of me getting approvals is going to be a lot more difficult, right? So this is something that you guys have to do anyway. Personal credit profile, your business credit profile, your business entity. There are things that you just got to make sure, just double check, right? Double check. This is the industry that I'm in. If that wrong information is there, that is going to be something that could potentially get you denied on your business application. So that is pretty much it. This is what I want you guys to pay attention to. Again, don't listen to people when they say, oh, your personal credit doesn't matter, I can get you 6 figures. No, we're on this channel, we're going to go and deep dive. We're actually going to read the bylaws. We're actually going to read the websites. We're actually going to pay attention to what these banks are looking for. That way I can go take that back to you guys. That way, over the course of the several months or years, we can get our personal where it needs to be. We can get our business where it needs to be. We can get our business entity set up properly. That way, when we go to the bank and they're talking about, oh, your SBSS score or your small business score is low, or now you actually have the information to be able to have a conversation with some of these bankers. And by the way, a lot of these bankers, they really don't know the ins and outs of the stuff that we even are talking about on this channel. They are given a script, they're trained a certain way, and that's pretty much it. So we have to have the accountability on ourselves to make sure when we're asking for loans or we're trying to do business apps, we got to make sure that we know what we're doing before we start talking to these bankers, because it's not a guarantee that all these bankers know what they're talking about. So that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully you got a couple of gems from this. If you did, like, subscribe, go down in the comments, let me know your thoughts. And then I'm going to check you guys out in the next video. All right, have a good one. Peace.